Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I made a video and I'm sitting here in front of my Guns N' Roses shrine because I'm going to do a Guns N' fucking Roses video. I'm going to show off my Guns N' Roses vinyl collection and then rank their studio albums. One of the most impactful bands in my life. I love them. They're not my favorite band. At one time they were for a long time. They just didn't have the longevity. You know, bands like the Stones and Aerosmith and Black Sabbath kind of surpassed them. But I love Guns N' Roses. They changed my life. They came in at the perfect time of my life. And let's get to it. So I'm going to start off right away by saying there's two studio albums here that are not in my collection. One, Chinese Democracy. I do not like it. I know people do. That's fine. To me, they were never Guns N' Roses, and that's not why I don't like it. I don't love the music. I've tried over the years to listen to it. I don't really like Axl's voice in some of it. The music is just nothing like the Guns N' Roses I fell in love with. It's a totally different band. The drum loops, it's so incohesive. There's like 50 different musicians on the album. I digress. I'm not gonna, it does blow my mind how there are people out there that it's their favorite Guns N' Roses album. And maybe I can see that if you didn't come up with the band. But I think there's a couple people out there that I've read online that have said that it's their favorite album. And these are people that were fans back in the day. Anyway, I don't have that. And the other one I don't have is Live Like a Suicide. Live Like a Suicide was a 4-song EP that the Uzi Suicide record label released before Appetite. They only released 10,000 copies. I don't think anybody really knew about it when it came out. Some people did. I'm sure someone's going to see this and say, oh yeah, I knew about it. But it was only 10,000 copies, and Guns N' Roses were not commercially successful yet or anything. It cost like $400 to get that. I don't really want to spend that. If I came across it and saw a good deal, I might get it. And then, of course, they released it as the A side or the G side of Lies. So I have the songs anyway. But yeah, let's get to it. I'm going to just show off my collection. I got a bunch of stuff that's not studio albums. I'm going to start off with Appetite for Conversation. Pretty silly. But, times are different back then. We didn't have YouTube. This was just an interview. I haven't listened to it since high school. I probably picked it up at either this place called Stairway to Heaven or Buried Treasures in Cambridge, Mass. We used to go there to get our bootleg CDs and vinyls and imports and crap. We didn't have YouTube, so it was kind of cool to actually listen to what the band sounded like, what they had to say. If I remember, they were pretty messed up on this, talking about some crazy shit. But yeah, I'll actually give it a spin and listen to it. Guns N' Roses. We got right here. Appetite for Destruction, B-sides, and EPs. So they put out a box set for Appetite. I think it was the 30th anniversary of it. Something like that, I don't know. Crazy box set, crazy expensive. I don't think I was super into vinyl yet, and I wasn't paying the money for the vinyl box set. So I bought the CD box set, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't want to buy the whole vinyl set, so I went and got this on eBay. This is pretty much Lies without the song One in a Million. I love the song One in a Million. It's probably my second favorite. If not, it's in my top 5 Guns N' Roses songs. I know the lyrics are very, very controversial. I have my own opinions on that. Whether it's fictional, whether, it's really how Axl felt at the time. I'm not going to get all into that. But lyrics aside, I do like the ballsiness of I don't give a fuck putting those lyrics on a song. It's just insane. Axl's voice. His voice in that song is perfect. I love the guitar solo, the perfect contrast with Izzy's dirty guitar and Slash's acoustic. The vibe of that song, it's just an amazing, amazing song. And they took it off of this. So this is basically they put Lies on the box set without 1 in a Million. Like I said, it's got Patience, Used to Love Her, and the acoustic version of You're Crazy. I guess I'm not going to get all into this because we're going to talk about Lies later. It has an alternate acoustic version of You're Crazy. It has It's So Easy, Knocking on Heaven's Door, and Whole Lot of Rosie, the AC/DC cover, live at the Marquee in 1987. That was a very monumental show. They put them out to, they sent them out to the UK to promote Appetite. Appetite hadn't came out yet. They did a few shows at the Marquee, which is a very famous venue. I think this is the first time they played Knocking on Heaven's Door. I will talk about Knocking on Heaven's Door for a minute now. That song is played out. The song you hear on the radio, it's not my favorite. A lot of people don't like it. I don't love it. Their live versions of Knocking on Heaven's Door back in the day were amazing. And everybody knew it. Like before, they knew the song. Before it ever came out in Illusions. Like bootlegs and shit, you were passed around back then. Yeah, like the version on the Ritz, they played it on the Ritz show. Just an amazing, amazing live version. They made it their own song. It's one of their classics. Yeah, by the time the Use Your Illusions version came out, it was just overbloated and overdone. It was actually released the summer before Use Your Illusions came out on a Tom Cruise soundtrack, Days of Thunder. So that was actually released before Use Your Illusions came out. But yeah, this is great. The version of Whole Lot of Rosie on this, phenomenal. I just wanted to have that on vinyl. It's So Easy. It's So Easy was Guns N' Roses' first single actually released. So only in the UK. I don't think they've released it as a single here in the States. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is really cool to have. That whole Marquee show is really cool. Good stuff. B-sides and EPs. Next up, we got Metal Pedals, GNR. Obviously, another bootleg I got. Probably from Hidden Treasures or Buried Treasures or Stairway to Heaven. Like, this is super cool shit to have. I got this before Illusions came out. Maybe before Lies came out. I don't think so. But it's just got all these demos and crap on it. It's got this version of 1 in a Million. It's not the one. They have a CGBG concert. It's not that one. It's a different version. Recorded at the Limelight, January 31st, 1988. So, yeah, this came out, I don't know when I got it, but then it's got Patience. It's got the song called Corn Shucker. Hilarious, funny, awesome song they did. It's got Knocking on Heaven's Door live. Used to Love Her live. I don't know if I got this before. No, I think I already had Lies. Lies must have been out. Don't Cry. This was really cool to have back then because Don't Cry wasn't released till Use Your Illusions. Super old song. Tons of those songs on Use Your Illusions were written back in the Appetite days. Night Train, Sweet Child. This was Shadows of Your Love. Was obviously another song that it was always a B-side, I think. I think it was supposed to be on Live Like a Suicide and didn't make it, but it wasn't released, and I had it moved to the city. Jumpin' Jack Flash, Stones cover, a bunch of other crap. Reckless Life, Heartbreak Hotel, the Elvis cover. That's about it. Then Nice Boys, another Knocking on Heaven's Door, a Whole Lot of Rosie. All those must be from the Marquee. No, it says they're demos. I don't know. Not everything here might have been right. One cool thing on here is this guy. I don't know who the fuck it is. I think I know who it is. There was two guys in Guns N' Roses in 1985. Ole Beck, some guy. He was Danish. He was in the band for 2 seconds. They might have did a club show or something. I don't know. He's dead now. I think he died of a heroin overdose. Then there was a guy, Chris Webber, who I think this is. No, this must have been the Danish guy, because this is a bass. I think that guy played bass. Chris Webber, another guy. If you don't know about him, he was in Hollywood Rose. He has writing credits on a few Guns N' Roses songs. I think Anything Goes, Move to the City, and Reckless Life. Love Reckless Life. There's podcast out there. I don't know if it was Appetite for Distortion, but there was a interview with him, a very recent interview with Chris Webber on. It's out on YouTube. I'll try to find the link and put it in the description below. That's pretty cool. I never really heard him talk or knew much about him, but yeah, cool guy. Another fucking super cool thing to have back then. I think I did get this before Lies. Like, you got to put yourself in people's shoes back then. There was no internet. There was, you know what I mean? Like, just to have songs that weren't released, it was cool. I think I got this from this kid at school. He had it. This is actually the single, I believe, for It's So Easy, released in the UK. It says made in England. Super cool shot of the band right there. They were fucking awesome. But it had It's So Easy, an alternate version of Mr. Brownstone. But then it had Shadow of Your Love and Move to the City, which I know Lies wasn't out yet, because this is how I knew those songs. And just to have, from this super giant band, to have these songs, it was really cool. The back is just a picture from inside Appetite, another great, cool, iconic photo sitting there by the keg. They were just such a real band, man. I think I'll get it. Yeah, I'll get into it now, man. People say Nirvana killed hair metal. I disagree. This band killed hair metal. Or at least they initiated the decline. When Guns N' Roses came out and hit the scene, Bon Jovi was huge. Europe was huge. You know, Poison. That was hair metal. Guns N' Roses were a different ball game. They came out, they were a dirtier, druggier version of the Stones and Aerosmith. You know, a little heavier. They were dark, unpredictable. Parents hated them. Their lyrics were real. They didn't have the big pop gang vocal choruses. It was just a different scene. They were gritty. They were real. And then other bands started following their suit. Now, this was back in 1987, 1988 when this was happening. This was before grunge. You know, you look at the early grunge bands, Alice in Chains, they dressed all glammy. I don't really know what they sounded like at the beginning. Even Pantera were kind of glammy, but they were heavier. Shit was evolving. And I do believe Guns N' Roses started that. You know, there's plenty of, even like grunge bands like Pearl Jam. I've heard or read interviews from Stone Gossard and McCready, and they talk about how Guns N' Roses kind of changed the game, and they were refreshing when they came out. You know, they kicked it off. You listen to Mother Love Bone. What was it, Jeff Ament and Stone Gossard, I think? I'm not a Pearl Jam aficionado, but they came from that band, and Mother Love Bone is one of the early grunge bands. But they sound pretty glam, like not so much the cheesy glam. I do like some of the cheesy glam, but not like the awful glam. Like, you know, they didn't sound like Winger and Warrant and all that crap. But they did sound a lot like Faster Pussycat. If you listen, there's a lot of similarities. Maybe not a lot. There are some similarities between Faster Pussycat and Mother Love Bone. But yeah, so that's it. I just wanted to put that out there. I think it's pretty common knowledge. You know, as Guns N' Roses got bigger, they kind of... Another thing about grunge is they kind of poo-pooed the whole rock star attitude, and that was their thing, and that was cool. And Guns N' Roses, the bigger they got, they really became the rock stars. Like, and they really, at least Axl really clinged on to that thing and acted, you know. And grunge was totally against what Axl turned into. What Guns N' Roses ended up as right before they broke up were totally different for what they stood for, in my opinion, when they first came out. Anyway, I don't know where I am, what's going on. This video is going to be 6 billion hours long. But next up, we got Guns N' Roses live at the Ritz. This is my favorite concert of all time to watch. It came out on MTV and it changed the game. And this is what propelled Guns N' Roses. People were like, oh my God, look at these freaking people. And I think it was Guns N' Roses' most played telecast at one point. Telecast, is that the right word? But they played that show a lot. And this is when Guns N' Roses was just catapulting. It was at the Ritz, 1988. They played the year before in 87 downstairs, I think. And then they played upstairs at the Ritz. bigger stage. I think that's how it went in '88. It was this show. They were touring with Great White, who was pretty big at the time, but Guns N' Roses was just starting to take off. Great White was supposed to headline the show, and their manager, or is it Doug Goldstein or whatever, last minute said, no, we're going to flip it. And Great White was thankful because they weren't going to be able to follow Guns N' Roses. People were there to see Guns N' Roses, and that show. So this audio, I never really cared for this. You got to watch the show. It's sloppy, and Axl even says it at some point. He's like, people are going to think we're the sloppiest band in the world, but I personally don't give a fuck. And that's how they were. They were probably up for days. They play great. It's fine. They're out of tune here and there, but like you're watching it, and they're all over the place. Slash is in front of the stage. His fans grabbing his headstock, throwing his guitar out of tune. His guitar cable comes out. Axl jumps in the audience. People throwing shit on stage. It's just mayhem, ready to fall apart at any second. And I can just watch that show. This is like the radio edit, so they beep out the swears and some other stuff. But yeah, if you never watched that show, watch it. It's only like an hour long. I will put the link in the description, but just recently someone released an unedited version, and I started watching it and watched the whole thing through. I've watched this show countless times. And yeah, it's unedited. It's the best quality. The audio is unedited. No beeps. The banter between songs, I think, is unedited. So there's a little more footage that, I've seen this show so many times. I recognize a few little scenes and stuff that I don't recall. And it's really cool to watch. I'll put that link. At the end, they show Slash stage diving after the show was over. I never saw that before. But yeah, live at the Ritz, iconic show. There you go. All right. Guns N' Roses. Rock in Rio. This show. This was... You can find the bootlegs, the videos of these two shows out on YouTube as well. So this show was recorded February 91. So it must have been right after Illusions came out. Either way, so this was the first show with Dizzy Reed and Matt Sorum on drums, Dizzy Reed on keyboards, in front of 150,000 people. And this is the first time Axl played any of these songs live with the band. They didn't do any rehearsals. They did sound check before. And, shit was changing, the dynamics. Like, when Use Your Illusions came out, I think the band recorded the whole album. I think Axl's in Chicago. They might have recorded in LA. I don't know. People correct me if I'm wrong. I know there's people out there that know everything. But I'm pretty sure Axl wasn't really hanging out with the band when they were recording this album. They did it separately. But yeah. Oh, it's also got Salt on the Earth on it. That is awesome. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought. But yeah, so a lot of these songs from Use Your Illusions, Pretty Tied Up, You Could Be Mine, Civil War. They had played Civil War before. I Keep Smiling, they called it. That must have been Dead Horse. So yeah, this was probably released before Use Your Illusions came out. I don't know. But I Keep Smiling was Dead Horse. First time they played these songs in front of all these people. I think Axl might have screwed up some of the lyrics, but they just didn't give a fuck. Axl didn't give a fuck. And it was a great show. This was, again, really cool to have. Salt on the Earth. That was from a Rolling Stones show on the Steel Wheels tour. They brought Axl and Izzy out. I don't know if it was the shows. Guns N' Roses opened for the Stones for 4 shows out in LA. I don't know if those were the shows, but I like that version better than the Stones studio version. Axl, this could be a hot take, but to me, I'm not saying Axl's the best frontman of all time. And some people, giant Axl fans, might not even agree with this, but when I say Axl, 1987 to 1989 is arguably the greatest frontman of all time. Like that song, Salt on the Earth, he comes out with his swagger, you listen to it, and he just owns the fucking song. You watch him on the MTV Music Awards when Tom Petty calls out Axl for Free Fallin' and Axl slowly comes out. He fucking owns that song. He changed after, once Use Your Illusions came out and he started wearing the biker shorts, and you could tell this band was fucking massive worldwide at this point. And you could just see he changed. He's like blow drying his hair and combing his hair mid-sets during the Illusions tour. The way he would talk to the crowd was different. You could tell, and I'm not talking shit, but you could tell he thought he was a rock star at that point. When he would address the crowd back in the Appetite days, it was just different. He was real, and he was talking to the crowd like he was one of them. It was just different. I don't remember where I was going with that. I don't know where. Oh, yeah. Salt in the Earth. Good shit. All right. Next up, we got Guns N' Roses live at the Thomas and Mack Center, January 25th, 1992. This came as part of the Use Your Illusions box set that I did buy on vinyl. Great box set. Came with 2 live albums. It came with a Blu-ray of one of the live albums. And of course, it came with the Use Your Illusions albums. Came with this cool box. I'll put a little video up of it. If you look at it from this way, you see Use Your Illusions 2. You look at it from this way, you see Use Your Illusions 1. The Use Your Illusions tour, man, it went on for a couple years and it was phenomenal. They lost Izzy during that tour. Izzy is not on this album. This is Gilby. But it's a great frickin' show. They put out the... I'm missing something here. Oh, yep, I'll grab it. I'll grab it in a minute. Yeah, great live show all the way through. It's just a complete show, and it's great. Yeah, I just got sidetracked there, but I realized I'm missing part of my collection. But yeah, there's the inside of it. Some cool shots. They were just so cool back in the day. This is a great show. I actually prefer this over the other one. This is live. Oh, this is the second. These are the, what are they, 33 RPMs or whatever. So this is when they record the albums at a different RPM. So you only get like 3 songs a side. So this is a 4 album set for this show. They supposedly sound better. I mean, I have just regular albums that, come as double albums when they shouldn't be, and you're getting 3 songs a side. I don't know if I could really notice the, does it say, is it 45 or 33? If someone knows, let me know, but I'd almost just prefer to have less vinyl and less flipping. But yeah, this is the second one. Second album of that set. I'm sorry if I'm rambling on and getting boring. I know this is going to be a long video, and I should have said that at the beginning. All right, next up we got Ritz. So this is not the Ritz show I was just talking about. This is the Ritz Theater, 1991. Very fucking cool show. So, again, they did those Rock in Rio shows. So I'm going to say that Rock in Rio shows were before Use Your Illusions came out. So people didn't even know those songs yet. This, May 91, this may have been as well before they came out. But these were like rehearsal shows because Axl never rehearsed for the band. So they did a bunch of club shows. They may have announced them the day of the show. I know they did the Warfield, San Francisco, a couple other ones. But they did the Ritz again. And killer show, cool stuff to have. We get like alternate covers. I didn't show you the other one, kind of similar to the Use Your Illusions covers. Some cool stuff on here. This is a show where they shot the You Could Be Mine video. A lot of songs they played for the first time. Pretty damn cool. The Blu-ray, Duff does a stage dive in it. I think Paradise City was in the middle of the set, which it used to be. Here's a little gripe about concerts and bands. Guns N' Roses now, back in the day, bands would surprise you with encores, and you would get an extra encore song if the crowd went nuts. Crowds don't go nuts anymore. Crowds suck. But my point is, bands like always end the shows with the same freaking song now. Guns N' Roses ends every show at Paradise City now. And it's just boring. You know what I mean? Kiss ends every show with Rock and Roll All Night. Black Sabbath ended every show with Paranoid, and it's just so predictable, and it kind of ruins the encore. You almost want to head for the seats sometimes. But yeah, the Ritz, Shannon Hoon from Blind Melon, rest in peace. They pull him out for a few songs in this. Really cool stuff on here. Here's the other one. I'm not going to read all the songs. A couple more photos. But yeah, you can see Axl changing. He started wearing all the spandex and big gaudy jackets, and I don't know. Yeah, very cool. All right, so yeah, I'll be right back. I'm back. I did a whole video of this unboxing, so I'm not going to get super into it, but this was the live era, Guns N' Roses live era. What reminded me of it is those were all complete shows. Live era is not a complete show. It's different songs from different eras, different lineups of the band. This was released in '98 or something. I did a whole video on it, of the unboxing, but Axl did some overdubs for some reason, and then you go and you listen to the original like live recordings from bootlegs, and they're fine. There was really no reason to do that. And he did overdubs in like 1998, 10 years or 11 years after some of the recordings. Not in the whole thing. Some of the songs are untouched. It's just kind of weird. And there's a couple songs where they would splice together, like I think maybe Patience, the first half of Patience from one show with the second half of Patience from another show. When they had tons, it sounded fine. I don't know why they did that. But this is still a really good, I still love it. It's awesome. Super cool picture of one of Axl's stage dives. They were freaking cool, man. He would just get ripped apart because they were freaking huge. I mean, look at that. The stage dive on that Ritz 88 show he does, they're mauling him. They rip his shirt right off his back. Like, you just forget about that because you hear about the Axl that, would jump into a crowd and punch someone in the face or storm off the stage, and he seemed like he was better than everybody. But back then, he'd just jump in there and be with the crowd. Yeah, that Paradise City and the Ritz, and then he jumps back up. And I think they hurt his wrist or ripped something off. He's looking at his wrist, but he gets right back into the song. Super cool moment. Yeah, this right there. That's a picture from the Giants. I think they were at the Giants Stadium, maybe, or they were opening for Aerosmith. I know that because that's a shot from the Paradise City video. My favorite video of all time. I always loved live performance videos. But yeah, this is great. This was their only release at the time to feature It's Alright, the Black Sabbath cover of Super Deep track. Off Technical Ecstasy that Bill Ward sang. Great song. Yeah, Super Deep track. Obviously, big Black Sabbath fans. They've been playing Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, since Ozzy died at their shows. I think they might do Junior's Eye once in a while. I went to the Back to the Beginning concert. Axl wasn't great. But they still put on a really cool set. They did Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Axl was like all out of time. The end of it. And his voice wasn't great, but it was all right. His voice isn't what it is. The guy going back to like, in his prime, dude, no one sang like that. And he just destroyed his fucking voice. So, cut him some slack. He's out there trying. When they first got back together in 2016, he struggled, but he could still blow you away. And I saw some of those shows in 2016, 2017. He was still blowing people away. And he did that AC/DC thing. And many people feel he blew his voice out with that. Because you go and you watch him do Shoot to Throw. You watch him do Thunderstruck. And he has given it 150%. And he was just really never the same after that. But yeah, at the Back to the Beginning, they also did Junior's Eye, Super Deep cut. Also off Technical Ecstasy. I'm having a brain fart. It might have been off Never Say Die. Great song. Junior's Eye, deep cut. But yeah, they must be big Black Sabbath fans. All right, this video is probably a half hour long now. I'm sorry. It's probably not going to be many people that make it all the way through it. But I'm gonna rank the studio albums, as I said, official releases. Not all studio albums, because I have an EP. But no Live Like a Suicide, no Chinese Democracy. Sorry, all the Buckethead. I'm gonna go back to that too. I don't just hate it because it's Chinese Democracy and it's a different band. I would have loved that album. And I followed Axl. I followed every band member was doing. I remember buying a Spin magazine that was like kind of the first glimpse of Axl in years. And all the members that were supposedly going to be in Chinese Democracy. And I bought a Josh Freese. If anybody knows Josh Freese, he was going to be the drummer for a while. I bought his CD. I bought a Buckethead CD. I remember watching and having a bootleg of the Rock in Rio, that when Axl first came back with the new band. I think they did a New Year's Eve show prior to that in Vegas, but it wasn't like televised. But the Rock in Rio was a big thing, and I listened to it, and I was interested. And then I forget, just eventually, I'm just like, ugh. And then I went and saw them in 2002 with this Buckethead lineup, and it just wasn't Guns N' Roses to me. Axl sounded great. They came out at 11:30 on a Monday night, and back in the day, that was awesome. No one gave a shit. They came out, the first time I saw Guns N' Roses, they came out at like 11 o'clock at night. Soundgarden played prior to them. There was like a couple hours in between. But it didn't matter, because then Guns N' Roses came out and did a 3-hour show and freaking blew everybody away. Times were different. I remember when they played, I saw them play with Metallica. Little story, at Foxborough Stadium. Both bands were freaking huge at the time. And, people partied back then. People don't party like we did back then. And that's just true. I'm not just saying that because I'm older and people were drinking. I think Faith No More opened up. Metallica played a full, close to 3-hour set. And then Guns N' Roses didn't come on for like 3 hours in between. It was mayhem. You would go into the concourse and it was like a mosh pit. Literally. Pieces of pizza flying. People it was insanity. You went inside the stadium. This is the old Foxborough Stadium. And they had these big 32-ounce hard plastic travel mugs that they would sell beer in. And it had all the concerts from Foxborough that were playing that season. And you would look around and these things were just flying everywhere. These big, giant, hard mugs flying just everywhere. They wouldn't even sell them at a show now. And boom, this dude that was sitting 2 people over from me hit him in the fucking head and blood all down his freaking face. And his girlfriend didn't leave. He had to leave. And his girlfriend stayed because she wasn't missing Guns N' Roses. It was just a different time. But yeah, back to 2001, 2002 or whatever. Axl was still not showing up to shows and coming on. It wasn't as cool anymore, and it wasn't even the real band. Buckethead came out and did like a nunchuck solo. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he's handing out toys to the audience. They had Robin Fink up there dressed all goth. Axl with his cornrows and like big football shirt. It looked like a circus. And then he started talking shit about Izzy. And I was like, you know what? Like on stage during that show. And I was like, yeah, I just lost. I think a few of the things happened after that. And I did listen to Chinese Democracy when it came out. And I didn't like it. I listened to it on, they played it on WAAF. That night, the whole from front to back. I remember the next morning, everybody calling up like, what the fuck? That shit sucks. And, some people might like it, but I don't. All right. Sorry, I know this is going to be a 45-minute video, but Guns N' Roses means a lot to me. The Spaghetti Incident came out in 1993. My good buddy Dan Gada mailed me the cassette while I was in boot camp. I was very surprised to get that. I couldn't listen to that. You couldn't listen to music in boot camp. In fact, I heard 3 songs the whole 3 months I was away in boot camp, and I remember them. One was One from Metallica. I was in line for something. I think at the dentist getting my molars pulled or something. All three songs might have been then. And I heard Alive from Pearl Jam and Daughter from Pearl Jam. Those are the only three songs I heard in 3 months. All right, Spaghetti Incident. I love it. Great production. It didn't do very well. It got slagged. A lot of critics trashed on it. People crashed on it. Guns N' Roses is pretty much toast by now. They did a lot of covers people didn't know, punk covers. Since I Don't Have You, I think a Skyliners song from the 50s. I love it. My least favorite songs are the Duff songs, but they're good. New Rose, Attitude from the Misfits. My favorite on here is Look at Your Game Girl. It's a Charlie, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I love it. It's a Charlie Manson cover, and it's great. It's acoustic. I've heard rumblings that Slash might not even be playing on it. I'm not sure. We got Down on the Farm. Awesome, awesome cover. Hair of the Dog. The Nazareth cover. Some good stuff. Ain't It Fun? Some of Slash's best guitar work on that song. He does it with Michael Monroe from Hanoi Rocks. They've never actually released... Oh, they did. They released it on vinyl when it came out. But if you want it, it costs like $400. This is not an official copy. I got a $40 copy from Purchase Street Records in New Bedford, Mass. And it's really cool. And this video is going on forever. And I got to take a piss. So I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I was kind of rushing through that Spaghetti Incident because I had to piss. If I didn't mention it right now, I'm also ranking my studio albums that are official releases from Guns N' Roses. I might make this a 2-part video because it's super long. But yeah, I do love this album. It's great. I guess it was initially recorded with Izzy, I believe. And then once Izzy was out of the band, they re-recorded it with Gilby. But I would love to hear the version with Izzy. I bet it's a little more raw and great. They do Buick McCain on here. I don't know who sings it. That's another great one. Funny little side note, funny story. The Spaghetti Incident. The history behind the name. I guess Steven Adler, the official Guns N' Roses drummer, who I met and partied with a couple times. And I can't get into it now, but classic frickin' stories. This was after he was in Guns N' Roses. I could do a whole video about those stories. But apparently he used to hide his drugs in the spaghetti in the fridge or behind the spaghetti or something. And after they kicked him out of the band for doing drugs, pretty ironic, Guns N' Roses kicking someone out of the band for doing drugs. I guess he couldn't do his job anymore. He was that bad. He was suing the band for whatever. And I guess during one of the hearings, they were talking about the Spaghetti Incident or something about his drugs being hidden in there. I don't know. Very cool. Yeah, he was pretty fucked up. Down on the Farm. That was the last song Steven Adler played with Guns N' Roses. It was at the Farm Aid. I don't know what year. Maybe 1989. Use Your Illusions hadn't come out yet. They came out. I think they did 2 songs? 3 songs? I know they did Civil War, which no one knew. Could have been the first time they played it together. It was a little slower, super cool. And Down on the Farm. Why am I thinking they did 3 songs? But they did Down on the Farm. And Steven had never played that song with them. But it's a, 4/4 quick song. Duff was like kind of showing him. And if you notice, if you pull that up on YouTube, when Steven comes running up to the drums for his last performance with the band, he trips and falls on the ground on the drum riser and then gets up and goes in it. Anyway, all right, moving along. I wanted to do a head-to-head, so I'm not going to tell you which one of these 2 albums. I'm not ranking these 2 albums. I'm just going to show them both. But I think I'm going to do a head-to-head video, Use Your Illusions 1 and 2, of which one I like better. But Use Your Illusions 1, here you go. This came in the box set back there. No, I'm going to rank it now. Fuck that. To me, I liked this a lot more when it came out. there's no songs on it that I dislike. I don't know if there's any great songs. November Rain, obviously. I mean, there's great songs to a Guns N' Roses fan, but like, you know, Appetite's got the Paradise Cities and you get the Patience and, you know what I mean? Don't Cry, great song. The band changed a lot when Use Your Illusions came out. Even though a lot of these songs rooted back to those days, it was different. Although the two albums debuted, they came out together as two separate albums. They debuted as number 1 and number 2 on the Billboard charts, which no one had ever done before. As I always say, if an album debuts at number 1, you know, that is credit to the album that came out before it, you know, for the most part. Although people did know Knocked on Heaven's Door, I think Don't Cry was released before it came out, and Civil War. I don't know if I had said that. Civil War had been released the summer before Use Your Illusions came out. That was also in a movie soundtrack. So you had Appetite, Lies, and then Civil War came out. And it was like this fucking song, and it was different from anything they had done. And it was like, these guys are just untouchable. Yeah, there could be some filler in this album. I still love every song. You know, Dust and Bones, Izzy singing, Live and Let Die, Don't Cry, Perfect Crime, You Ain't the First, a little duet with Shannon Hoon. Now, I believe this came out prior to Blind Melon's first album. Axl had a lot to do with Blind Melon getting signed. Shannon Hoon was from Lafayette, Indiana, which is the town Axl and Izzy were from. They were childhood friends, and they reunited back in L.A. And I think Axl's sister or something told Axl about this cover band, or this band in Lafayette that was covering Don't Cry, like way before Don't Cry came out. Like, I had it on bootlegs, other people had it on bootlegs, and Axl thought that was really cool, and somehow ended up hooking up with Shannon, and Shannon sang backups. Well, it was kind of like a duet on You Ain't the First. I think he did like the ooh-oohs on Don't Cry. Probably some backing vocals on Knocking on Heaven's Door. Some other stuff maybe. He was in that video for Don't Cry, which came out before Use Your Illusions, before Blind Melon came out. Blind Melon thanks Axl in the liner notes of their first album. Guns N' Roses took Blind Melon out on tour for this. But yeah, this is just a departure from Appetite. Appetite was just balls to the wall. This is all over the place. You know, it had tinges of country, tinges of this. You know, a lot of ballads, a lot of these epic ballads, long songs with different changes. To me, the heavy songs, like, people love, and there's not a song in here I dislike, but like Right Next Door to Hell and Perfect Crime, they lost something that the heavy songs had on Appetite. Although it's the same producer, Mike Klink, the production's just different. Like a song like You Could Be Mine, the production and the heaviness on that could be on Appetite. You know, it was bloated. 30 fucking songs at once. It's a lot for people to take in. 16 songs in one album, 2 on the other. But this is Use Your Illusions 1 we're talking about. It's got The Garden from, you know, Alice Cooper sings on it. You know, a little Spanish flamenco guitar after Double Talk and Jive. Izzy's doing some songs. Does Duff sing anything on this one? I don't think so. But yeah. It's got some Axl-isms. You could just see, like, this. I wish they would re-release these, remaster them, not remix them, or maybe remix them, like take out some of the Axl-isms, like the end of Don't Cry when he's like, I. That's not needed. It goes on like 3 times as long as that. The little end of You Could Be Mine on the other album, it's almost like satire of himself. Just little things. They're still great songs. They just could have been better. People say, you know, they should have combined them down to one album. I don't agree with that at all. You know, Guns N' Roses burnt themselves out after that. They weren't going to be around forever, so I'm grateful for every song that was released. I can listen to these albums all the way through. But, you know, you could see shit changing. Music was changing. Shit was twisting towards grunge. And this was kind of just going in a different direction than Appetite, a different direction than music was heading, the stripped down music of grunge was heading. You know, you could see Axl's like Queen, Elton John influences. Anyway, moving on to Use Your Illusions 2. This is my favorite of the two fucking albums. You know, people argue about that. I don't see it any other way how anybody else could have any other opinion. But fucking Civil War, Dust and Bones in 14 Years. The Izzy songs are pretty similar. Yesterday's great song. Then you get the Knock on Heaven's Door. Still a big song for them. As I said in the first part of these videos, I prefer their live versions, whether it be the raw ones from the Appetite tour to the big jam versions from the Use Your Illusions tour. Check out like the one from Chicago 92. Slash just goes off on that. It's fucking insane. Get in the Ring. Love this song. Duff sings it. No, Duff wrote it. I think he kind of has background vocals in it. Whatever. People shit on this online in the Guns N' Roses community. I love it. You know, the rant maybe is a little cheesy. But I love it. I love that rant back in the day. Shotgun Blues, that's another one. I love it. I think it's a great song. Axl actually plays guitar on that song. Breakdown. Now, Breakdown. There's 3 of those big, long, epic songs on here, and Breakdown is one of the most underrated songs. And I loved where Guns N' Roses went with these long epic songs. And this one has 3 of them. Breakdown, Estranged, and Locomotive. Just long, epic, beautiful songs. Locomotive, the guitar on that is fucking incredible. Just an awesome, the end part, awesome. Love it, kind of Layla-esque. One of the little, back to Breakdown, Axl does a spoken word thing at the end. That's one of the things that probably could have been left out. Still a great song. Pretty Tied Up. So Fine. One of the weaker ones. It's probably not a good song, but I don't mind it. I liked it back in the day. Guns N' Roses could have fucking shit all over a fucking CD, and I would have thought it was awesome back in the day. Don't Cry. Alternate version. Pretty cool. Was it needed? I don't know. It's the exact same song with different lyrics. You know, they got the original version on Use Your Illusions 1. Again, one of the first songs they wrote, and they didn't release it until Use Your Illusions came out. Back Off Bitch, I didn't mention it, but I love that song. I had that on a demo way back in the Appetite days before Use Your Illusions came out. My World, Of Course You Could Be Mine. My World, just a little thing Axl threw. I don't even think the band knew about it. It's all like industrial. He was getting into this industrial shit. Another thing that was present on Chinese Democracy. I actually don't mind it. And it'll always like stick in my head. They used to play it on the PA after the Use Your Illusions tour, after the show was over and people were walking out. It is what it is. You can hear Axl doing a bong hit, lighting a lighter, doing a bong hit or doing something. But yeah, Estranged, obviously. One of their biggest epic songs. They play at every show now. Still a great band to see live. Axl struggles big time live, especially now. But he has that baritone voice. He uses that in a lot of songs. They still play. Saw their last show. They played 29 freaking songs. Probably 28. I think they count Slash's solo. You know, plus Slash is still awesome up there. You get to see all the songs. The crowd's into it. You know, he sounds like crap on a song like Sweet Child of Mine, but the crowd's singing the whole song anyway. Next up, GNR Lies. So this is an EP, but this is my favorite. This is the original band, and to me, the Appetite for Destruction 5 is Guns N' fucking Roses. Nothing against Gilby. He came in. He was fine. Everything changed when Steven left. Again, I think these songs on Use Your Illusions would have sounded different with Steven. He just had that swing that everybody talks about. Matt was more of a pounding drummer, but yeah, I love Lies. This came out. This is an original copy from the 80s. I acquired this. I got 2 of them. So the album cover was edited. I think I have the first release. I think where it says possibly "Ladies, Welcome to the Dark Ages," they might have replaced something that said "Woman gives birth to a midget" or something. I don't know. Not that offensive. There's more offensive stuff on here. I don't know why they changed it. Oh, this doesn't have the insert. Oh, it does. The insert on the inside. I think the original didn't have the black bar over the boobs. Oh, this has some stuff on here too. Gay Victor in Gang Bang Horror. Grandma batters baby basher. Just some weird shit. Dinky Den in the pen. She broke my heart, so I ripped hers out. These are all references to songs, I guess. I don't know. There is Live Like a Suicide. That was the artwork from Live Like a Suicide. They still had the big hair going on. This was, prior to Appetite. But it was like more of a gypsy type of hair band. That's kind of what like Alice in Chains looked like when they were first starting. Another little story. This is just a story about Guns N' Roses. Jerry Cantrell met his longtime girlfriend, the subject of many Alice in Chains songs, at a Guns N' Roses concert in Guns N' Roses' early days. And Jerry got backstage and he handed Axl a demo, Alice in Chains demo tape. And Jerry said as they were walking away, Axl handed the tape to his roadie and his roadie threw it in the trash. And they met up later. And of course, those guys are all friends. Duff and Izzy have played with Jerry when Guns N' Roses reunited for the first time with Slash. Not the first show, it was a Troubadour surprise show. But when they did the shows in Vegas, Alice in Chains opened. But yeah, let me get back to Lies. So side G was Live to the Suicide. Live Like a Suicide. It's not truly a live album. They recorded it in the studio. I think that's why they call it Live Like a Suicide. Suicide means you're not alive. Yeah, they put that out. It had Reckless Life. I freaking love Reckless Life. That went back to the Hollywood Rose days. Nice Boys was on it. Love Nice Boys. Going back. One thing about Axl now, there was a video from the MetLife show a few days ago. Like, he really struggles in some of those high-pitched songs, but then all of a sudden he nailed Reckless Life. Nice Boys. And you're like, so it's still worth going to see them. Like I said, it's like a 3-hour show, Move to the City, the Aerosmith cover. I remember when this came out in 1988, me and my friend Norman Hall, we skipped class and we went to Strawberries Music in North Reading to go get this album. And one whole wall was just covered with Lies cassettes. And it was super cool, and I got it and I loved it. Mamakin, the Aerosmith cover. This is a song about your fucking mother. A huge Aerosmith fan. Arguably my favorite band. But at the time, I want to say 1988, I was only 14 years old when this came out, or I might have still been 13. I might not have even turned 14 yet. I don't know if I really knew Mamakin yet. I knew Aerosmith, I knew Greatest Hits, and I knew like Permanent Vacation and stuff, but I didn't dig too far into the 70s stuff, but that came. But yeah, Guns N' Roses Lies. This vinyl, man, is one of the best sounding vinyls I own, at least the acoustic side, which I didn't even get to yet. I don't have the song track in here. Do I really need it? Patience, of course. I remember when that video came out, MTV World Premiere, me and a couple girls I know, we went to this girl's house to watch the world premiere. We might have left school early to go watch it at noon, I think. Used to Love Her, but I Had to Kill Her. Controversial song when that came out. I remember a couple And get this, I think it was over that song and not One in a Million, but they banned Guns N' Roses or boycotted them, and they weren't going to play him because of the song Used to Love Her, But I Had to Kill Her, which was a joke and a great song. You're Crazy off this, in my opinion, is better than the version on Appetite for Destruction. It's just a fucking killer version of You're Crazy. And other killer version is the live version from Live Era, which I think was taken from the Tokyo 1988 show, which was a good bootleg back in the day. And then, of course, as I mentioned on the part one of this, because I am going to make two parts of this video, One in a Million. I freaking love the song, everything about it. I'm not saying I agree with all the lyrics. I think it's fucking just ballsy, as I already said, that he did those lyrics. I have my own opinions of why he did it. But lyrics aside, just the fact that someone would do that and say that. And not all the lyrics are racist or whatever. He's got another whole part that I can relate to about fucking being crazy and not watching that much TV. And his voice back then was incredible. It was just like raspy, but it wasn't too high. He wasn't like really trying to overdo it as he started to do later on some of the Use Your Illusion stuff. Like I said, Slash's acoustic contrasting with Izzy's dirty rhythm guitar, the whistle, the melancholy feel. That song is just fucking awesome. One of my top 5 Guns N' Roses songs. One in a Million, Lies. If I had to only keep a couple albums, obviously Appetite's going to be my favorite. I would keep Lies over the Illusions, I think. And these guys were just untouchable. They were the perfect band for the perfect time in my life. At that time, at that age, what I was going through in my life, and the people I was hanging out, and the way I chose to spend my life, the way I dressed, the partying, everything. Guns N' Roses were just it for me. The band, fucking, and I don't listen to them much anymore. Once in a while, you know what I mean. But yeah, they will always hold a place in my heart. I got another copy of Lies. This one is in better condition. This the same freaking album. I don't need to show you. I showed you that insert. I actually still have it somewhere. I should have dug it out. I'm gonna look real quick. But I was lucky enough to meet Slash a couple times. Ah, look at that. Right in here. I get all my concert tickets from back in the day. And I don't even know why I'm showing you this, but I'm not going to tell you the story. But I did meet Slash once. And I had, oh, it's gone. I had the Lies cassette case in my car. And it's the only thing I had. And I wanted to autograph it. And all I had was a highlighter, a yellow highlighter, and he signed it with that. And you can't even see it. So fuck me, it's gone. It wore off. Alright, next up, like I said, Appetite for Destruction came out in 1987. I think in like June 1987, or July 1987. They really weren't, you know, they had released Live Like a Suicide. They had released It's So Easy as the first single in the UK only. They did those marquee shows, but no one knew who they were. They were like a slow-growing band. I remember them in the 7th grade. I remember this girl singing Welcome to the Jungle in the back of the class for some reason. I remember the first time I heard this album, this kid Mark Cafazzo had the cassette, and I listened to it in my buddy Sean's driveway. And he put it on. It was on a black Memorex that was dubbed off someone else. And we're listening to it. And it was just like, holy fucking shit. Welcome to the Jungle came on. And then It's So Easy came on. And I think this kid Mark either said it or we thought Slash was singing. The guitarist was singing It's So Easy because of the contrast between Axl's baritone and his high-pitched voice and the lyrics. And turn around, I get a bitch for you. And my mind was fucking blown, dude. Literally, the Final Countdown album was what I was listening to. I was in the 7th grade. The album was huge. I might even thought Europe was my favorite band. You know what I mean? Whatever. It was the biggest band going at the time for a very brief period, like fucking 1 week, and then I heard Appetite, and it changed everything about me and my taste in music and everything. This fucking album. And then it slowly rose. Like, it took a year for Appetite to get to number one. The story goes that they were about to get dropped from the label, and that record album company Geffen Records was going to stop promoting them. And then Tom Zuat, very cool YouTube podcast with him out there too. He discovered a lot of bands. I think he had Metallica and like discovered them. And when he was leaving Elektra Records, he gave Metallica to them. He discovered Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, blah, blah, blah. But he convinced Geffen Records to play Welcome to the Jungle once. Just play it once. And I guess they played it at like 4 a.m. And the telephone lines blew up. They're like, who's this band? And I guess it started catching on and playing it more. I never saw the video. The first video I remember seeing was Sweet Child of Mine. That fucking video dropped. And you saw these guys. You know, a couple of them, Steven Adler, and had the big hair. Slash naturally had big hair. But Izzy didn't. Izzy was just dressed like a normal dude. You know, smoking butts. Axl with this little dance. You know, they were wearing the black and leather and jeans. And they just looked raw and real. And like in the 80s, dude, we wore jeans with holes ripped them. People wore leather jackets and the denim jackets. Like they dressed like we did. A little, you know, not 100%. But I mean, there were people at my school with fucking leather jackets with cut-off jean jackets over it. You know what I mean? Like Slash used to wear. But you got the visual of them, and that song just propelled them to a different stratosphere. And it was different. It was a ballad, but, you know, the blues bass guitar, and still one of my favorite, if not favorite, guitar solos of all time. That section of the video of Izzy doing the whirlwind like Pete Townsend. You know, Appetite for Destruction. There's the original cover. This is not the original album release. I got this later. I think I may have had an original copy with the original cover, and I carried it around, and someone fucking stole it from a party back in the day. Fucking assholes. Fucking assholes. But I got another copy. This isn't open. It's not the same as having an original, and I don't know if the other one was, but this was a long time ago when I had it. So, fuck, man. I'm still mad about that. But yeah, that cover was, of course, banned. Yeah, man, I loved Guns N' Roses. I got this tattoo on my back with a little tab of acid on the tongue. I actually got a Reckless Life tattoo right there. I love that song, Reckless Life. Not off this album, off Lies, but yeah, this band had a huge impact on me. You know, the fucking robot. I don't know if he was raping that girl, but super controversial, obviously. I don't know about now, but they couldn't release that back in the day. So they went and they did that. And honestly, probably one of the most fucking iconic album covers of all time. You hear stuff now, you see stuff online, Guns N' Roses, they had one good album. That's bullshit. They had one album that's one of the best of all time. My favorite fucking album of all time, Appetite for Destruction. You're never going to follow that up. So the rest of your material is not going to be as good as that. There's just no way. You know what I mean? Like you, and then people get played out on songs. I'm never going to put on Paradise City. I'm never going to put on Welcome to the Jungle or Sweet Child of Mine. In fact, I'm going to probably skip them the majority of the times they come on the radio or whatever, you know. But if I hear it out at a bar and it's on, it still sounds great. You hear Paradise City and Welcome to the Jungle in movies and sports games over fucking played, and it's like, you know, as time goes on, those are like the only 3 songs the radio plays by the band. You know, people get burnt out. They're like, oh, they're overrated, blah, blah, blah. These guys are one of the most important bands in rock history. Guns N' frickin' Roses. I love that picture right there, dude. I got it printed out up there. They were just dirty, freaking grungy. Years before grunge came out. Appetite for Destruction. I guess I'll read the tracks. Welcome to the Jungle. We all know it. It's So Easy. Night Train. Out to Fucking Get Me. One of the most underrated songs of all time. Mr. Brownstone. Paradise City. My Michelle. Think About You. Oh my God. Talk about underrated. That, I love that song. I love that song. Sweet Child of Mine. You're Crazy. They outdid You're Crazy with the Lies version. Anything Goes. Some people say, oh, they should have replaced Think About You and Anything Goes with Patience and You Could Be Mine. Fuck no, they shouldn't have. This album is perfect. Rocket Queen, arguably my favorite Guns N' Roses song. Probably Rocket Queen, One in a Million, and Paradise City. There you go. There's my video. I rambled on. I don't know. I really appreciate anybody that stuck through all this. I like making these videos. It takes a lot of time. I kind of got burnt out on it for a while, but I'm back in the saddle again. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. How do you feel about Guns N' Roses? Appetite for Destruction. You guys remember when it came out? Any ideas for new videos? Let me know. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.